This is the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
The Everton our way.
Straight from the street end.
Howdy Blues, and welcome again to the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. Mr. Johnny Seven here as always. And today's show is going to be a look at the West Ham game coming up at home on Saturday. Everton news of the week, and I already did the recap of last Saturday's game against Wolves. A forgettable event on Monday. There wasn't much to talk about in that, so there's no recap. So just going to have a little bit of spitballing, I guess. Is that the when you just kind of throw things and see what sticks? I don't know. Some of the stuff this week, I don't know, it's an Everton podcast, but I just want to just a little bit of comments on the absolute shit show of going on with other clubs around, not just around us, just all the stuff with Man United making a lot of the staff redundant and cutting down on the free meals for staff and all that kind of stuff, and then Ratcliffe doing an interview saying about how it was a must, and then they announce the day after a £2 billion stadium that looks like a big circus tent. It's, I mean, there's been some proper like PR own goals for Everton over the past couple of years, haven't there? But stuff like this, come on, they're meant to be one of the biggest clubs in the world, and I saw it a little bit, wasn't it? It's something about why don't Gary Neville suggested to Ratcliffe saying that why wouldn't you just send one of the first team lads, Maguire or Bruno, out to put a sportsman dinner on and charge and get some money back through things like that. And he said, this fella who's like one of the richest. Anyway, he's one of the top 1%, and he said, that was never on the table. If that was on the table, that's something we would have looked into. Like, that's not a new thing. Come on, it's just it just beggars belief. And then the other shower again. So they went out of the Champions League on Tuesday, didn't they? So the shite against PSG on penalties, and Nunes, just the gift that keeps on giving. And then I don't want to comment too much on this. All I do want to say is like good, and also their fans just cannot take it, can they? I can't believe it. They were moaning about VAR and moaning about VAR again. Maybe not just moaning about VAR, moaning about VAR as if it's been a consistent thorn in their sides. I saw the stat the other day, they've had 9 penalties this season. The next highest is 3. How many have we had? We've had 3 in the past 3 seasons, is it? Just you just can't make it up. So anyway, a little bit of a sidestep away from Everton with no recap, but it's just, as I say, it just winds you up, doesn't it, when you see all shit like that? And there's still stuff going on with City and their 115 charges, and I mean, we're kind of just going under the radar at the moment, and it's a good time to be a Blue. No drama. Looks like the club's in good hands. Good manager who actually doesn't knock the fans all the time or knock the players. He's actually says the right things in these in post-match and pre-match press conferences, and yeah, I mean, it's good being this side of it for once, and long may it continue. So with regards to that, anyway, so I will be back and look at the actual Everton news of the week in a sec. News. So the Everton news of the week. I talked last week, in Monday's show, and a little bit last week about Thelwell's departure and the fallout from that. And it's I think. I did. I said it on Monday. He's coming across better since it was announced that he's leaving the club. Than the whole time he was there. A couple of the players came out, Decore and Garner Gay, notably saying about how they wouldn't be here without him at the club. I mean, not in life. That'd be a bit grim. And oh yeah, Ghana Guy was at there as a guest at PSG with none other than the goat Habib Nurmagomedov from USC, former champion, random. Yeah, he was wearing. Was he? I think he might have been wearing Paris Saint-Germain gear, but he's been in Liverpool for a few days. Random, and Umar Nias in the crowd as well. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, so Garnagay and Decore both came out and wished him well and thanked him for the job he's done. And you know what, Thelwell, Kevin Thelwell, I know you'll be listening to this and watching this on YouTube, like you do all the time. Uh, Thank you for what you've done. I know it was tricky circumstances. I know you're a red. You haven't always come across in the best light, but you've left the club in a decent state, and it could have been worse. Let's just say. Um, And it's okay. So that was announced that he's leaving June 1st, and Angus Kinnear's coming in, and he's got a history with I think West Ham and Arsenal, experience and expected to play a pivotal role in the club's future developments. So as a CEO, so the talk last week was there's going to be a complete restructure up at the top hierarchy of the club, and I think there's going to be a little bit more movement there, isn't it? So those names of job roles might well be changing. We'll keep an eye on that and report as soon as we know it, I guess. Some potentially sad news, I guess, is Seamus Coleman's future. Moyes commented on it and said that he could remain at Everton, they'll offer him roles, but he might well have something else in mind. And he handled it quite well, I guess, because he's got to be realistic about these kind of things. But he did put a little bit of doubt in there, Moyes, when he said about Coleman potentially staying. I think he said if we wanted to keep every player on, then clubs would end up with hundreds of players. So, I kind of hinted if it was time to go, it's time to go. And sometimes players, it comes to the end of the time with a club or with the careers potentially. So, I think he is going to offer him something, but I reckon he's going to he'll probably be offered a longer term deal or a better management or coaching position elsewhere with a more secure position than what Everton might be able to offer. That tends to be the way those kind of roles work. You might get some kind of coaching in a younger team, but then you might get an on offer from one of the clubs coming up or a championship club, um, and get a higher position coaching in that in a role there. So all you can do is speculate on it at the moment because based on exactly what Moyes has said. But I want to see him at Bramley. I want to see him lead the side out at least once in a league game, not just a token friendly at the before the season starts, and maybe it is sentiment. On my new phone, which I've gone on about past couple of episodes, I had to sign up for the Everton sign into the Everton app again. And it's all weird, but it asked if you want to be part of the Everton reward scheme and all that kind of stuff. Everton, whatever it was, I signed into. But they ask you who your favourite players are. I'm like, I'm too old to have favourite players, but you still have to pick them. Oh no, you could have skipped, but I was like, who are my favourite players? And it's you know what? I think I'm going to put this on the podcast and just your three current favourite players. And it's difficult because in an age of football where it's like a lot of mercenaries, isn't it? And people like Onana who he was like doing all this and like puffing his chest out and was the last off the pitch, and people throwing their phones on to get him to do a video and all that kind of stuff, and um, ultimately he's doing the same for Villa now, I don't really think Everton means anything to him. People like Richarlison may be different because but it's hard to justify. Beto, um, 2 games ago was a lot of people's favourite player, but then he's missed a couple of chances in the last 2 games, and now he's garbage again. Apparently, um, I don't know. It's just mad. But if I had to pick, and I did, I picked Pickford, Coleman, and Garner Gay. And I was kind of torn between Ndiaye because he's gets even with Dyche in charge, one of those rare players who gets you off your seat. But if someone comes in for him and he has his head turned, I can't see that he'd want to stay. So yeah, so as a grey beard man, I had to pick my favourite players, and I chose some of the elder statesmen of the club. So it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. That was a bit of a waffle, wasn't it? But yeah, Coleman, I want to see him at Bramley. I want to see Garner Gay at Bramley for at least another season, and obviously Pickford. I don't think there's much danger of Pickford leaving. I think he's probably going to be up there alongside Brantwaite as a top earner in the club for the next few seasons at least. Um, so anyway, slightly depressing thought if Coleman goes, but it might be if he gets a good offer elsewhere with more security and better prospects, then he deserves it, doesn't he? For what he's put in for Everton, what a sign! Everyone says about 60 grand, 60 grand. Seamus Coleman is the song. What about the bag of trackies that we threw in as well? So yeah, just one of the best signings in our history. It's got to be said. Um, what a servant. The Blues have announced this week they will embark on a pre-season tour in the United States, and I think it was something. What was it? What it was called? I haven't got it on my notes, but it's called like the Premier Challenge or something like that. So I think the league and the organisers must be confident that we are safe now, and 16 points above the drop zone. I think it's quite secure. I don't want to jinx anything like, but so in between July 26th and August 3rd, I haven't got I haven't bloody written the other teams down here, and yeah, I could just check on the internet in a minute, but do you know what? I'll talk about it. It'll give me something to talk about next time. I've got nothing to talk about. Um, so three cities between July 26th and August 3rd, pre-season tour. We'll probably have another home match before then, after then before the season starts, and then the usual kind of second string and under 18s and wholesale change friendlies before then on before that July 26th date. So um, but yeah, good to see us going out there again, and our US fans get to see the Blues firsthand without having to travel thousands of miles over here to do it. So nice to see. Um, oh yes, some news that is some stats that came out today about Bramley again. Apparently, the turnover at Bramley is estimated to be between 250 and 300 million a year. In comparison to Goodison at the moment, which is around 50 million turnover per year, so an increase of over 500,000%. So, you know, that should put us back amongst the big boys, as well as having, the Freakin group in charge. That turnover as a club, PSR should be a distant memory in no time. We hope. They'll try and there's this case. What is it? Burnley just won't let it go, will they? They're trying to sue Everton over the PSR breach. Just get over it, lads. You swear good enough. Sad dice club, aren't you? Anyway, and the other news about Bramley, we've got two bits about that actually. Uh, the Echo, what a font of useful information the Echo is, the Red Echo. Uh, Everton fans will be able to get to the Bramley Moor Stadium by ferry. This just is out there. I'm sure they definitely know what to do in the Echo. They always put the people to look out for this week, and it's all people with one eye over here and one eye over there, and and they definitely just do it for just mad clicks and mad comments, and people always actually do comment in here for the comments with the popcorn kind of thingies, and they've done it again because they know that the wind up is that Everton fans come from Wales and Birkenhead, and I got it. I said it only a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? I got called, not accused. So what if you are from Birkenhead or wherever? It doesn't ask me at all. But it's just another cheap cop out shout because they don't like the fact. that they can't get season tickets because their tickets are sold to uh, basically for tourist money. And again, get over it. Uh, it's just cheap, low hanging fruit. That kind of banter, weak banter. Um, but I've got to say though, I quite fancy that just turning up to the match one day via ferry. Get a trio ticket. Well, I don't have to get the bus or train into town anymore because I live there. Like, so I could just walk across at 1 minute away from the pier head. Yeah, just pop my head around there, and although I'd have to come from the other side, wouldn't I? Yeah, with the hordes. Um, yeah. Is any other? Oh yeah, the last news about the Bramley is the second test event, and I feel like I'm shilling Paul's events at the moment, but he's putting a couple of coaches on from Segura. So Paul Cronin on Facebook, if you're after an all day uh, match day experience for the test event, he's doing, I think it's 40 quid all in bar at Segura with a coach trip from County Road down to the new grounds. I know it's probably about an half hour walk, but he's doing it 40 quid for 11 till 7, I think it is, drinks wise. That is a lot of drinks. And that's not just soft drinks, that's pints, cans, bottles, and spirits as well. So if anyone, if you can't find them on Facebook, drop us a message and comment on ours, and I'll reach out and I'll put you in touch. Um, yeah, I messaged him myself and said, "Are we going or what?" And he said, it's up to you." And I've already said on here a few times, I want to go to the wall now. I want to experience. I want to get down to Everton Way. I want to experience the other stands as soon as possible as well, because we're going to be South Stand. We're going to be Upper South Stand when the season starts. I've already been the Lower South Stands, and I tried to sit all over there at the test event when it quietened down a bit. I went down the bottom behind the goal, went top left as close as I could to our actual seats, and then I was sat in the middle back. For the game itself, popped over to the right hand side, just seeing the different views, and I want to do that in the other stands as well. Just want to absorb it all. So yeah, as I say, get in touch if you're interested, and if you weren't successful. I'm not sure whether he's doing the tickets with it actually, or whether it's dependent on whether you get tickets. But there's a lot of interest. He's got a couple of coaches on there, and those drinks events. I think he'll have a player on. It'll probably be Pat Van Den Au, who come around and spend some time with each of the tables as well. So pictures and that, and yeah, should be a good one. Dry run for him as well. Test events for the County Road pubs doing that first season with the transition from Goodison. Should be interesting to see. So Everton news. I thought I'd have nothing to talk about. I had 4 prompts on here which I've scribbled over, and I've still got a few more. I've got 3 more prompts. Apparently, we are interested in Sean Longstaff. 27-year-old Newcastle midfielder who struggled for games. That's added to the interest for Suchek from West Ham. I don't know. I don't know whether that's just another site like ours, or an Everton fan news source has plucked that, or who knows with these kind of things. The same with the Richarlison possible return. Um, I said this last week. I'd love to see Richarlison come back if he left his injuries and his moody is we like his moodiness when, because he plays with a narc on, doesn't he? Like a moody face a lot of the time, but he does love Everton, and it'd be nice if he left his moodiness and the injury problems at Spurs, and then came back and restarted his career and uh, hit the ground running the way he left us. Um, we can hope, but I think we might end up looking elsewhere because we can't be affording throwing tens of millions at players who've got an injury list like his. Another player who's got an injury list similar to his, looks like Broyer's close to return. I'll talk more about that in the West Ham preview coming up in a little bit. Also, another player who's got quite a history of injuries, Tammy Abrahams. Tammy Abraham from Roma, and obviously Everton have got the Roma link with the Freakin group now. Potential 10 million move. Again, if he can go injury free as well, he's got a lot going for him. But we need players to come in and play games. Calvert-Lewin, he did have a good run of games, but he's missed far too many through injury. And then the games he was playing, he wasn't even at 80, 90%. And I think that's hit him a lot this season. I'm not excusing the chances he's missed, but if he wasn't injured, maybe I don't know. It's difficult. And then Chimiti, well, we've seen what, 3, 4 times, and then Broja we've seen a couple of times. So we need players to come in and be robust, and we haven't really seen that an awful lot from Everton players. So Everton strikers, sorry, coming in. So yeah, Everton news of the week. I'm going to put this out tonight, Thursday, the 13th of March. But I'll do the shares on that on Friday, and hopefully they won't just announce a load of other news again, like as soon as I post it again. So this is out to date. So fingers crossed on that as well. But I'll leave the news there, and I'll come back in a sec with the West Ham preview. Here are our social media links.
This is the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. If you haven't already, go and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/EFC Not Bitter, Just Better, or you can find us on Twitter at Just Better EFC.
Okay, so looking at the West Ham game coming up, Saturday game, not many of them left at Goodison. March 15, 2025, kick-off at 3 p.m. Everton host West Ham United. One thing I will say, kind of related to the news, the Everton 1878 with the flags and stuff have dedicated a flag to Decore for Saturday's game, and the place he's had in our history, the fastest ever Premier League goal that we scored, and also the goal that kept us up a season or two ago. So well deserved. And I shared that from the page this week, today actually, and just commented, he's not always had he's not had the best season, and he still offers a lot. And somebody commented that it's a nice way of saying that he's finished and it's his time to go. And I do kind of. I prefer my way of saying it. So yeah. Anyway, cheers, Elliot. But he still offers he offers something that Alcaraz doesn't. But then Alcaraz offers something that he definitely doesn't, and that's going to be a big dilemma for the team this week. It's giving Moyes a little bit of a headache, isn't it? So. Match insights. Everton currently on an 8-game unbeaten run in the Premier League, including draws against Liverpool and Man United, which we should have won, and obviously the game against the weekend, which we probably got away with one against Wolves. West Ham won two in a row against Arsenal and Leicester, but then lost in the Monday Night Football against Newcastle. So both in decent enough form, but Everton in the better form coming in. Level on points, Everton 15th and West Ham 16th, only separated by goal difference. And we've historically had the upper hand in the fixture, but they have the recent upper hand, beating us 3-1 last year. And I remember that game to an extent, and I remember, well, more so, I remember thinking, how the hell have we lost this game 3-1? We weren't great, but they were absolutely nothing, and they walked out with a 3-1 win. So it's a mad one. So 4 of the last 6, I think they've won at Goodison. So we need to stop that trend for sure. We've still got a few injury issues, so I'm just going to skip to my online notes now rather than read from this bit of paper. Let's see. So they went from back-to-back victories against Arsenal and Leicester, and then came up against Newcastle, who got the win. This is our First, sorry, this is 8 game unbeaten run in the Premier League, the longest since a run of 9 games without defeat under Ronald Koeman. That was between December 2016 and February 2017. No team in the top flight has drawn more matches than Everton, who have drawn 12 this season. But the difference is now we're playing to win and picking up draws, and rather than not playing to not lose. And hoping for draws, and I think that shift in mentality has been a real change in fortunes, or is amplified the change in fortunes. Um, so we're now 16 points ahead of the drop zone, as are West Ham, and if we can put the 3 points between ourselves and West Ham and just consolidate that looking upwards. Two sides who've both changed the managers halfway through the season. Obviously, Dyche leaving, and Lopetegui leaving for West Ham, and Graham Potter coming in. And it was interesting, this, because Graham Potter was being linked with an Everton move before Dyche even went. And it seemed that West Ham acted super quickly and basically had him signed up while we were still umming and ahhing whether we should let Dyche go. And I don't think that was a coincidence at all. But then, he's not set the place on set the world on fire since. He's been all right, but he's not been amazing, has he? So the Hammers have won 9 of the last league encounters against their former managers. So that doesn't bode well. But we'd imagine the way Moyes was treated there, despite what he did for them, you'd imagine he really would like to get one over on them, wouldn't you? So injury news, still without Ndiaye, Dwight McNeil, obviously Mangala's out for the season. Calvert-Lewin's still out with his thigh. Broja looks like he is stepping up his return, but he's still not ready. Coleman returned from a calf injury as an unused substitute last weekend, and he's probably going to be on the bench again. I can't see him being thrown back in against with O'Brien doing so well for the most part. Well, he's undefeated since with O'Brien being the side, isn't he? So I can't see that him coming in for him. But Coleman is a different option to have on rather than just throwing Ashley Young on in every position. Harrison is probably going to start on the left again after his goal last week, and this is where there might be changes. So we look at it when Decore came back into the side straight away last week, and Alcaraz was on the bench. But then when Alcaraz did come on, he kind of started over on the wing. I started on the left, and then Harrison moved over to the right, and then he moved into the centre to have a little bit more impact. Alcaraz, I mean. So James Garner didn't have his best game. James Garner, happy birthday today, by the way. I know you'll be watching as well. Um, so that's it. It does give other potential options there. I can't see him starting Alcaraz on the wing, but he could potentially keep Decore in that pressing role in front of those holding midfielders, or he could drop him back. I can't see him dropping Garnagay. He'd be one of my first names on the team sheet at the moment. He's still getting some stick for he's not blessed with the world's best passing, but he does so much more. So yeah, he'd still be one of the first names on the team sheet for me. So I can't see him being dropped unless he picks some kind of knock. But one of the potential options might be to rotate Garner out, put Decore back there, and have Alcaraz closer to Beto up top. The problem I think you're going to have with that, he's a lot more creative, and he'll drive the ball forwards, but I don't think he'll push on to the defenders as tight as Decore does, and like as tirelessly for the first 70 odd minutes before he gets knackered as Decore does. But maybe that's something we can try and start off on the front foot, and then as our front players get tired, Decore doing that on tired legs from their side, that could be a potential option. Rabunum as well is got to be pushing for a start. So, and that another one who's a little bit more comfortable on the ball. So there are a number of potential options there. I think Harrison's probably still likely to get the nod over on the left, but I think Lindstrom might be one to, I've seen a few people suggest maybe um, Alcaraz or Garner to start on the right. I think you're playing a different type of game then. The natural width isn't there. So it'll be interesting to see anyway. But it's nice to start having those options, and then obviously when Ndiaye and that are back, we're starting to look like a decent squad rather than just the starting 11 and that's it. The starting 11 and Ashley Young, and potentially Michael Keane up top. So Patterson on the bench as well, and Chimiti sniffing around. So hopefully those players have all made strides towards full fitness again, and we might see a few appearances from them. West Ham, Antonio's still out. Nicholas Fulkrug's still out. Somerville all remain sidelines. Kufal looks like he'll be assessed just before kickoff. They look like they might be the same starting lineup, despite that Newcastle loss, because they won the two before that, and Paqueta is stepping up his return from injury, and he came on against Newcastle, so they've got a few more options. Suchek, Alvarez, and Ward-Prowse may all be preferred in the middle of the pitch. So Suchek, who we're being linked with, and he does seems to do all right against us, and Ward-Prowse, who I have heard randomly was a childhood blue. So would be keen to impress at Goodison, I believe. So our potential 11: Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkovsky, Branthwaite, Mikalenko, Garner, Lindstrom, Decore, Harrison, and Beto. So those possible changes, obviously Alcaraz potentially coming in there, but I can't see many other changes. Their potential: Areola, Tadibo, Kilman, Cresswell, Wan-Bissaka, Suchek, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, Scarles, Kudas, and Bowen. Bowen obviously is going to be one to watch from them. Ward-Prowse, excellent from free kicks usually. So and Suchek, as I say, tends to do well against us. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, but there's no reason why we can't go and get 3 points in this game, and that's got to be what we've been aiming for. It's the start. These eight games now. It's not looking as impressive with 4 wins and 4 draws, but you still would have bit someone's hands off, wouldn't you, if you'd been asked that around Christmas time? But it'd be nice to start turning those draws back into wins, especially with one of the few games remaining at Goodison. So anyway, I've had a few texts today saying, are we having a couple of scoops on Saturday? And what's the old saying? Does a bear shit in the woods? Well, I don't know, but yeah, definitely. So it's, as I say, one of the few games left at Goodison, and it'd be good to see the lads get down to Segura early on. Yeah, and generally misbehave. So remember what I said before about the second test event. Get in touch if you haven't managed to sort out tickets or if you are interested. Also, the big dunk event that I've harped on about and put all over the social media events. If you are interested in a ticket for that, Paul Cronin on Facebook, or get in touch with us and we will put you in touch with the right people. Okay, so going to leave that there. Thank you for all the comments through social media again. I get a big proper chocker this week with general work and life stuff. So trying to post stuff, and I am more than last week, but it's a lot of stuff has been anti Liverpool stuff with the PSG, and I wasn't feeling it. I mean, obviously it was made up, but I wasn't feeling that kind of banter at the moment. I feel like I want to celebrate Everton more rather than because they're still top of the league, aren't they? Audible. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Go and leave us some nice reviews on Spotty and Apple podcasts, and say hello on YouTube. I will catch you next Monday. Come on, you Blues!